Canada has legalized prostitution. FTW, Canada, for the win. Every once in a while, you're reading the news and you have a double take on a story because it seemingly comes out of nowhere. I read the headline 3 times. I'm like, wait, what? Canada? Seriously? So here I'm thinking that the beginnings of the legalized prostitution movement, like way off in the future, like a decade away, apparently it's happening right in front of our nose here. It was a Supreme Court ruling, quote, "The Supreme Court of Canada ruled in favor of safe working conditions for sex workers. The court decided that the laws which criminalize operating brothels, street soliciting, and living on the profits of prostitution create dangerous working environments for sex workers and violate Canada's charter guaranteeing life, liberty, and personal security." So, this is really interesting for a couple of reasons, and I should also note it was a unanimous ruling, 9-0 in favor of legalizing prostitution. But their reasoning is important, okay? Because what you're going to have here, you know, conservatives in this country, if they talk about it, they'll say, oh, they just legalized immorality and people acting off their whims, a libertine society, as Bill O'Reilly always says. But that's not the justification for their ruling. That's not the argument they made. Again, the argument they made is to protect the sex workers. They say, look, they're going to exist no matter what. There's a reason why they call it the oldest profession in the world. You can't wire sex out of people's heads. People who can't get sex by, you know, your traditional means, they're going to pay for it. That's how it works. So being that that's the case, either, here are your options. Either you keep it illegal, in which case it's run on the black market by criminals in unsafe working environments where there's transmission of STDs, transmissions of drugs, you know, the women getting beaten by their pimps. Either you do it like that, or you legalize it, you tax it, you regulate it. And what happens when you legalize it and tax it and regulate it? It's just a normal industry. It's the most normal thing ever. In fact, if you look at where it is legal, so just outside of Las Vegas, it's legal. There's never been an STD transmitted ever. Isn't that amazing? So if you go to a hooker on the street, you're taking a risk. If you go to a hooker at the regulated, taxed, and safe environment just outside of Vegas, I mean, it's wins all around. The government gets their cut, the government gets their revenue, okay? A businessman gets to make some money, the girls get to make a good living, a great living, in fact, okay? And they have to take regular tests to make sure that they're clean and they're using protection and all that stuff. And it's just a legitimate business. You have to understand, the reason why there's crime associated with prostitution is because it's illegal. If it wasn't illegal, there wouldn't be crime associated with it. Because guess what? If there's some kind of dispute when it's illegal, how do you solve the problem? You can't solve the problem. And there might be some shady characters that want to solve the problem with an AK-47 in a drive-by, okay? But if it's legal and you have a problem or you have an issue that you need to settle, how do you solve it? By wearing suits and ties and going through the legal system like regular people. So the upsides are tremendous. I think they're, you know what it is? It's one of the last strains of puritanical society that's left. Banning prostitution, banning drugs. We need to shake those, man, because the policies we have now are an absolute, utter disaster.